Hello, angel babies. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Trisha, and this is Trisha's Temple. Thanks for being here. If you feel like a late bloomer in life for some reason or another, maybe it's actually with your sexuality or in some other aspect of your life, or in multiple aspects of your life, because you found yourself at what felt like a slower pace than other people. Maybe you watched the people around you meeting milestones that weren't happening for you, whether that was graduating from college or getting married, having children, buying a house, whatever felt like these markers of success and adulthood. And there you were, and you're like, well, this isn't happening for me, so what's going on? How can I feel like I'm living a fulfilling life if these external symbols of status or success aren't happening for me? Maybe you felt like some part of you was simultaneously more ancient and wise, and people would come to you for advice. And on the other hand, people were talking down to you, treating you like infantilizing you, treating you like you didn't know how the world works, that you were naive in some ways. And that dichotomy, the two didn't feel like they fit together. And you wanted to know why you were both the person who had so much wisdom and yet couldn't seem to drive when it was time to drive, or couldn't have relationships in the same way that other people seem to, or couldn't like the other daily tasks were harder for you when it comes to just like the daily chores of being an adult. And now you're starting to shift into finding yourself, coming into alignment with a version of you that accepts all that you are. All of these paradoxes, the seemingly confusing parts of you. I want to know, first of all, what is this current season that you are in? And, okay, what are you, who are you becoming in this current season? I did have the Queen of Cups try to peek out. And then we have the Chariot, which in this particular deck has the this way, that way. Usually the Chariot is very direct and knows where they're going, has this, it's very fast-paced energy. But sometimes when I read the Chariot, it can feel like conflicting energies within you that are still trying to decide which way you want to go. Who are you now? And maybe this is a season or a crossroads that you've found yourself at, where you were following or feeling very tied to external versions of success and adulthood, and it's kind of like flipping inside of me, inside my dress. And you might also feel like you may have also felt like you needed to have it all figured out, but you're kind of letting go of all of that external noise and figuring out what your internal voice is actually saying to you. There's a little dog that has this scarf on, or it might be a cat actually. So the animals in this deck represent your inner wisdom. And I think that your inner voice, your inner wisdom, your conscience, whatever you want to call it, has been your constant companion and is a lot closer to you now. You've been building a better relationship with that voice. Okay, hang on just a second. This current season of yours is one of watching the sun set on that past life. And there may be a little bit of nostalgia or even grief when it comes to who you had to be, who you were. Not all of it is sad. Some of it is like reflecting on good times. But you are using that kind of reminiscent energy to be a fuel for this next chapter. Okay. So while you were feeling like this late bloomer, and feeling like everyone else seems to know something that you don't know, I want to know a little bit more about that version of you and what it is that you are letting go of. Kind of the feeling of being backed into a corner, like everyone's wands are pointed towards you. You may have felt like everyone was watching you or wondering what was wrong with you. And maybe in some cases they were because you weren't, oh lovely, we've got a fly joining the party. Fly on the wall. Someone wants to know, the scuttlebutt, the gossip wants to know what's going on in your life. But you're reframing that as you're feeling that like nostalgia, reminiscent energy, and turning it into, okay, I had that attention, I had all those eyes on me for so long because I'm powerful, because I wake people up, I change the game for people, whether it was past relationships or Feeling like you just needed to earn your place in a room, but actually it was more so that other people were feeling something, some type of way about you. Yeah. I'm thinking of the summer I turned pretty when she goes to her first debutante ball and she's like, I'm so out of my element. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've never done this before. This is not something that I ever would have expected myself to do. But then she goes and she sits down and she ends up finding out that everyone there, like, becoming a part of a community in a different way than she expected. So maybe in the past when you tried to conform or fit the status quo, make yourself live up to these expectations that were placed upon you or meet certain mile markers, it just never really worked out. But now when you're entering a space, even if you feel like you're out of your element or it's just new for you in some way, you're going in there, you're owning your own power, you're being yourself a lot more, and people are loving that about you. You're not feeling so on edge or defensive like you need to guard yourself. You're feeling just more soft and open. And that even if people didn't love every single thing that you said or did, or how you dressed or did your hair or whatever, that you're letting that be them and you be you. Okay? So why now? Why did it take you so long? And it really didn't take you so long because your timeline is your timeline. So you're never late. But why is this particular part of you, this part of you that's just a lot more confident in your own skin? Maybe there is some particular aspect of you, like maybe you are now learning how to drive, or you're learning how to go out on dates. Now I'm thinking of Love on the Spectrum, when some of them go on their first date later in life. And so why is it that this part of you, this new, more embodied self is able to step up now? Putting down the burden, putting down the expectations, putting down a lot of the weight. There may have been a lot that you were carrying when you were younger that really didn't belong to you, wasn't yours in the first place, but you felt like it was, that other people projected onto you, whether that was parents or other caregivers, teachers, religious leaders, friends, whoever, that made you feel like, oh, you have to be responsible for this emotional burden or even physical burden. Like, now I'm thinking of when an older child is more responsible for the younger child than the parents are. 8 of Wands. Yeah. This feels like a lot of the energy flying up into the air, and you don't know exactly where it's going to fall. You may not have felt safe enough. There may have been so much chaos in your life when you were younger or at other stages of your life. Even just internally, there were layers that were being peeled back to get to know yourself piece by piece. I'm just hearing the line from Shrek where he's like, ogres are like onions. They have layers. And then Donkey's like, you mean like a cake? Cakes have layers. And he's like, no, ogres are not like cakes. They are like onions. And maybe you feel like other people really wanted you to be more like a donkey or more like a Shrek, and you were the opposite or neither. And the situation that you're in now is allowing you to figure out from all of the noise that was around you which wand is actually yours. Where your power lies. Okay. Oh, it's starting to get pretty dark in here. Maybe I'm gonna have to turn on the light, but we'll see. Hang on. Okay. That's not the best, but it's better than being like totally in the dark. So I want to know a little bit more about this part that has been hidden for a while. Maybe for your whole life. Maybe you had a little bit more access to it when you were younger, but it's been a while since you've been really able to connect to it. The World. This is giving your hopes and your dreams, your aspirations. This card reminds me of graduating from high school. So that may be more literal for you, that there was a time close to high school graduation where you were going off to college or to some trade school. You had a big plan for yourself. You knew what you were excited and looking forward to beyond leaving the nest of your home where you grew up. And now you are kind of returning, you're circling back to some of those dreams. Maybe it's not that you're, like maybe you really wanted to be an architect, and it's not that you're going to be an architect now, but you are going to take some of that, the bits and pieces of architecture, like that inspiration. Maybe you still like aspects of architecture, or maybe you really wanted to be some type of doctor, and you're using what it is that you liked about or like drew you to that, and you're gonna use that to move towards whatever career path or creative project, even in relationships. Like if you wanted to, like you always wanted to be an event planner. And now you're going to start hosting more parties for yourself and for your friends, and finding a way to just bring that aspect of you. Okay, let's like get a little bit more into the details. Because the world, that's kind of a broad stroke. This card is actually also reminding me of the end, that scene in I keep wanting to say in Elle Woods, in Legally Blonde, where they all throw up their graduation caps, which I think is a pretty traditional thing that people will do. And maybe there was something that you didn't think that you could do. Like in the case of Legally Blonde, she didn't think that she was going to be a lawyer. But then she also was using stuff, her skill set, her ability, the knowledge that she had about being very fashionable, her sorority life, in applying that to being a lawyer. Okay, then we have the Tower. Wow, this is some big energy. This part of you might feel like it's been a long time coming, that this part of you has wanted to come forward for a while and hasn't felt safe enough to do it, hasn't felt like that there were just other things that needed to happen first. It could be, I mean, I'm just thinking of an example from my own life, that it wasn't I wasn't psychologically ready to leave the church until I had moved out of my parents' home. And there were some things that I needed to go through, some experiences that I needed to have to realize that that church was not aligned with me as a human and the experiences that I want to have in this life, and I was feeling limited by my involvement, and that it was no longer aligned with my values. So maybe there's something like that where you end up in a relationship with somebody and they help you to connect more closely with this part of you because they have that part of them in spades. Maybe you go to a party and that reminds you how much you love hosting parties, and then you decide to plan like your friend's party. But I do think it does feel like it's something a bit bigger than like more foundational to who you are as a person. Like your sexual identity, realizing that you're neurodivergent, realizing that you are like a change in spirituality, a change in relationship status, a move across the country or across the world. Something that feels like very bold, but also, I mean, like what did I say? This is like a very broad brushstroke, but maybe it's a very bold brushstroke. it feels simultaneously super out of character and right in line with who you are. Like something you didn't expect of yourself. Like one of those things that you're like, I would never, or that's not who I am. I never imagined that I would be doing this thing, and then that's exactly what you end up finding yourself doing. It seems like you're going to have some sort of big push that helps you to make this change, because maybe it's just a little too far outside your comfort zone to where you wouldn't just make it naturally, or it would have taken you significantly longer if that tower hadn't fallen. So let's see, what is this tower going to be for you? Has it already happened? Is it in the works? Are you in the middle of the fallout? When we're in the middle of the fallout after a tower, sometimes it's like, is life ever gonna be good again? I've never known peace. Where there will be like a whole bunch of things that will happen all at the same time, and you're like, I can't keep my head above water. Maybe that's what's been happening with you. Okay, it's time to change decks. Yep, this is the one. I'm hearing somebody was questioning your authority, your power, making you question yourself. Whether that was just an individual person or a company, a system, a religion. You were feeling a little bit trapped inside your own head. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. Okay, which is a repeat of this Seven of Wands. So it does seem like you did feel that like your back's against the wall, feeling like people, whether it was one person or like lots of different things were putting you down, maybe getting you inside your head, causing you to overthink. The Eight of Wands, isn't that also? Yeah, we also got the Eight of Wands earlier, which is over here. Nope. Come here. But this Eight of Wands and this Eight of Wands have quite a different tone to them, I would say. You are you might, like we said, you were feeling a little bit of that chaos and not knowing which wand was yours, where your power was, having a harder time hearing your own voice. And now you're going to be able to cut through that. It's going to be so much more clear. Like this, I mean, she even looks like she's, like her heart is more open. She's knows how to direct her energy. The Eight of Wands is generally like all of the wands, all of the power is going in the same direction for the same result. All have the same intention. And a very specific seed is being planted. So this tower, I think it's already happened if you're not in the middle of it already. And you're finding your way out of that cloudy, foggy feeling of, I don't know which way is up and which way is down. I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable in my own skin. I'm nervous to speak up or know how to stand up for myself, maybe in certain instances. That is, you're coming out of that, or you have been working on that for quite a while. And this Ace of Pentacles is deeply rooted safety in yourself. Okay? How are you releasing this past timeline or like the narratives of this is what it means to be an adult, this is what you have to do to be successful, these are the criteria that you need to meet? Six of Pentacles. Part of it is by finding a community of people who speak your language and resonate with you, that they are going to be able to show you love in a way that maybe you haven't experienced before. And in that process, like, this is saying in relationship, you will heal the wounds of the past. That you're realizing, oh, I've been lovable this entire time, or I haven't been behind. There are other people who are on a very similar timeline to me, who have been through very similar types of situations. And the only reason that I felt like there was something flawed or off or behind about me is because I was just not around people who got me, saw me, were able to nurture those softer, more sensitive parts of me, or were able to value me for my wisdom and also support me in the things that were a challenge for me about being an earth, earthling. Okay, and how is this impacting your relationships with people from the past and the people that you're meeting now? Nine of Pentacles. It really does feel like emotional fulfillment. I think that it's going to highly impact every relationship. That your sense of self, your love and emotional fulfillment and sense of safety and belonging within yourself is helping you to have different expectations of the people around you. Like we were talking about earlier, it's almost like, well, it's easier for you to say, like, that's their thing, not my thing, and not absorb their mistreatment or projections onto you. But it's also, you're starting to see that your abundant way of living, your creative energy, your life force is having this ripple effect in your life that maybe family members and friends are starting to do things in their life that they weren't doing before, but what, like, the more that you are loving and pouring into yourself, it's like that's their permission to do the same for themselves, and then it benefits your relationship with them. And then, of course, like the relationships with your soul tribe, the people that you meet who have been traveling a very similar path to you, are feeling very like this breath of, like the deep breath that you didn't know you needed to take, that you'd been holding for a longer time than you knew. Like this Queen of Pentacles, I'm thinking you have the Midas touch. That everything you touch turns to gold. Everything you touch becomes more beautiful, more abundant, more full of love and light. Yeah. What is going to be blooming in this new season for you? So you were, or you are, in a season of like a crossroads. You're trying to decide, getting more acquainted with your own voice and letting go of the external narratives. So now, in the future season or upcoming season, what will be blooming for you as a result of that process? Because you may feel like you're a late bloomer. But like the ugly duckling story, you may have just been with the wrong family. You didn't even realize what type of bird you were. But I think that being a part of the duck family for a while, if you will, has brought you so much empathy and compassion. And of course, like, through all of the heartache and challenge that it brought, you have been able to like I said with the whole Midas touch thing, like turn really, really hard things into beautiful things. Abundance, persistence, and proliferation. Let's read what this one says from the guidebook. Mint. It's interesting, there's a little fish keychain at the top. Maybe you've been fishing. Abundance, persistence, proliferation. Card meaning. The Mint card speaks of deep roots, firm grounding, and a refusal to give up. The tenacity of the mint herb can be the despair of many a gardener, but its abundance can also be an encouraging omen. Life's obstacles can be frustrating, but mint reminds you that stubbornness can get you through. Consider your current situation. Someone may be trying to uproot you or remove you from something you're passionate about. Don't let them. Make your own decisions and don't let someone else steal your agency. Dig in and be strong. Stubbornness isn't necessarily a negative trait. Reflection. Are there unfair limitations being imposed on you by someone or something? I mean, I definitely think that there were growing up, and perhaps later into life, into adolescence and young adulthood, even beyond that, that you had people thinking that they could tell you what to do and how to do it. And I think that the blossom, what's blooming, is your ability to say no. Your ability to be like, this is what is right for me. This is my energy. I know myself so well now that if somebody comes into that energy with a projection or telling me that they know something is better for me, then that's not actually better for me. I'm not afraid to stand my ground now. I'm not afraid to I'm hearing clap back. Just like let them know that like that's fine for them to have their opinion, but I'm gonna do what I believe is right for me. Okay, we talked about like wisdom and compassion and empathy being a gift of you taking this longer road or having been in the ducks world for a long time. But what other wisdom are you taking with you, or what other gifts are there from having taken this longer road? being the late bloomer. I think, like, I'm thinking of like an actual journey. Like if you were going on a hike or something and your only point was to get the only, like you just basically sprinted up the hill, like, okay, like there may be some enjoyment or benefit experience to that, but maybe you would also miss out on seeing the flowers and the animals and the plants and enjoying the sunshine, sitting down and taking a break and just talking to your friends, having a snack. And I think that you have learned how to not always have the destination be the goal. That's a huge gift that you've gained. Might be getting the other cards. Let's see if this one wants to give us any more. There's been a delay in the cards wanting to come out too. You've developed a lot of patience. Maybe you're sick of it at this point. Like, okay, I get the point. Can we get to the point where I earn or like have the blessings, the fruits of the patience? So we have the oak tree, power, courage, and strength. There is a massive, like this, maybe no one could see what was growing under the surface for such a long time. And now all of this is going to start to be like coming up and out of the soil. And you were aware of this because you were living it. Maybe there were people closest to you who were witnessing it, who were actually able to see that. But now people are going to start to see all of this coming out because this was happening under the surface for so long. And there may be a little bit of there's apprehension, but like I don't know what the word is for this. When you kind of wished that people would have cared before there was this type of evidence, that they could have seen this, but you also are like coming to terms with the fact that they couldn't, and almost just like holding this part sacred, or realizing that this will be a part of this. As in, you will be able to share what you've learned with other people through whatever it is that is coming to bloom, is you're creating something, you're sharing your story, you're having conversations with people, and they're meeting this part of you in some ways through this. Maybe you like write an actual memoir, but it doesn't have to be like so on the nose like that. It could be through little things, even just your energy and the interactions that you have with people and the kindness that you share with them. The way that you carry yourself. Okay. The last question I have is, what would your future self want to say to you? Oh. I think that a past version of you would be so grateful for the support of this version of you. It's like they say that you've grown into a version of yourself that would have protected that version of you, that would have been there to nurture, to say, like, I see you, I understand, to explain it to that version of you again when you didn't understand the math problem, or when you were overwhelmed by driving. Driving keeps coming up. Maybe something about sensory overwhelm, or just like being afraid to do things that seemed so easy for other people. This version of you gets it because you've lived all of it, and this version of you would protect that, and a future version of you would do the same for this version of you. Cup of tea, patience and reassessment. A future version of you would say, you have had the softness and the wisdom all along, and neither of them was wrong. Your emotions did not diminish your worth. And your logic did not I'm seeing was not binding you. How many stars are here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have planted a lot of seeds all along the way, and you're starting to see them come to fruition. Your dreams are coming about in ways that you can't even imagine right now. A past version of you would not have expected this version of you to exist the way that you do now, and maybe would even have been very overwhelmed by the fact that you exist like this. And this future version of you is grateful that you are taking moments to rest and care for your body, to practice little rituals of pleasure, like drinking tea or stepping outside in the morning to enjoy the air and sunshine, to consistently connect to that voice so that you feel at peace with who you are. Your future self would want you to know it's okay to not have all of the answers or feel like you're still uncovering who you are. That's just how it works, and that's the fun of it and the pain of it. That you are meeting yourself more and more every day. And you may feel like you're behind, even still at times, but you're not. You're right on time for your path. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one. Bye.